In a 190-page internal report, BP says errors of judgment and equipment failures led to the April 20th explosion of the Deepwater Horizon rig that killed 11 people and spewed millions of barrels of oil into the ocean. Brent Coon is suing BP on behalf of some of those workers, and he joins us now. Thanks for being here, Brent. Appreciate it.
Good to be here again. Thank you.
First, in your digging through this report that was just released this morning, is there anything in it that you think helps or hurts your case against BP?
I don't think it cuts either way with respect to helping or hurting. Obviously, BP is going to have a slant on what happened out there that would mitigate against their own liabilities and shift some of the blame to other parties. We expected that in the report, and that is what we're seeing.
When you look at the Deepwater Horizon rig, there are actually 6 parties involved, everyone from Anadarko, which a lot of people haven't heard of, to Transocean, the operator, to Halliburton, to Cameron International. Halliburton responded to this report saying BP made a series of cost-saving decisions that increase risk, in some cases severely. So Transocean is the first one we've heard to respond, but when it comes to laying blame on other companies here, are you going to go after those companies?
We are, and we have. We tend to agree with some of what Transocean's response is today, that BP did initiate cost-cutting measures that added to or increased the risk in this case, which included shortcutting on the centralizers that were utilized and a pressure to get the exploration rig off and a production rig on that site.
Anything specific you can give us in terms of what other companies you may already be or are planning on suing?
Well, we have already brought claims against all the persons you just mentioned. BP was not the only owner of this leasing permit. It also included Anadarko and either Mitsui or associated entities. You also look separately at the rig owner. You look at other companies that were brought out to assist in the drilling process or some component of it, such as the cementing job.
Brent, BP says this is not the final word. Obviously, this is an internal investigation. They also say, look, we can't get direct access to what they deem to be key witnesses and also key physical evidence. Have you deposed any? Has BP deposed any of your clients?
Well, we haven't been able to get to the deposition process in the case yet. I'm sure BP would like to talk to our witnesses. The majority of the testimony in this case is what's being proffered through Congress and through the Coast Guard testimony anyway. What could be added to by clients of mine and others that were actually working on the rig will help supplement that record. But many of those persons that were knowledgeable have already testified in the congressional proceedings and in the Coast Guard proceedings.
I think BP in this report actually has taken some responsibility for it, but they said, look, it's not all us. They talked about the fact that they think they incorrectly accepted results of a negative pressure test, but they say, look, it wasn't us alone operating on this rig. You've made a career suing BP. You got a massive, I think the biggest OSHA settlement ever in the 2005 Texas City refinery explosion. But there's new management now, new leadership at BP. This is, in essence, a new company. Do you think that a settlement is the outcome you're going to see here in your case, or do you think they'll fight this tooth and nail?
First of all, while BP maintains their new management, they're really not. They have changed some of the token figureheads within the company since the Texas City explosion. They have a new CEO. In fact, they have another new CEO since then. But it doesn't really change the infrastructure of the company. You have tens of thousands of workers, many of them in management, that have ingrained habits. And BP has indoctrinated them to these ingrained habits. And that's why they have 90% of the knowing violations with the OSHA. That's why their fatality rate within their industry and at their refineries and facilities is a multiple higher than their competitors. They are just extraordinary risk takers. And to date, they've always consistently violated the law, both state and federal, in order to cut corners and to maximize their profitability.
Finally, Brent, what do your clients want? Those clients that were injured in the rig explosion, do they want a financial settlement from BP, or do they want you to fight this to the end and not settle?
Everyone wants to know the truth. What actually happened, why it happened, who's responsible, and most importantly, what can be done to prevent it again. The report that we saw today, which is the preliminary report from BP, is one, as you know, they don't even have the equipment. They made this report before they could even examine the blowout preventer and before they could talk to some of the material witnesses. It was a whitewashed report. It was vetted by their lawyers. I'd be very interested in seeing the drafts of this report to see how much language they've taken out and changed to make it more palatable for the corporate executives.
Brent Coon, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.